Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. So friends, in this video we will have our discussion on how to see major life changes coming in someone's life. Like when I say major life changes, this could be a complete U-turn. Like you could take my own case as well, from astrology, from YouTube, to getting into the disciplined military environment. Like a couple of days back, I was also watching this reel by someone who is right now in the Sadhguru's ashram. So they were also talking about their life that they did not plan on getting into such a spiritual life. They were like in corporate world, but now how their life have transformed. It starts with meditation, it starts with chanting, and how their whole day goes through. So these all kind of changes, like all what you have to do is that you have to connect the dots, your own astrological chart, your like planetary alignments, activated dasha transit, combining everything. It can actually give you a hint how to foresee these kind of big changes. So this is what friends, this discussion is going to be. So I will not be like bringing some very complicated topic to explain this these kind of situation. It's just like that some of the topics which you already know how to connect the dots. That is what we will try to do in this very small and concise discussion. So, before we will start the discussion, we will first pray to Lord Ganesha, who is the Hindu god of auspiciousness, good omens, and who presides over all the knowledge of mystic sciences known to humankind. So, Om Vakratun Mahakaya Suryakoti Samprabha Nirvignam Kurumadeva Sarvakareshu Sarvada. So now, friends, for this concept, the very first thing is that how to understand the core concept. So, see, you have to understand that a major life pivot isn't caused by a single planet. It generally happens when multiple layers of timing align perfectly. Like you could also take up the case like slices of the Swiss cheese where the holes line up, letting a single beam of light pass all the way through. So I do not know, friends, have you like if you have watched my this year's like 2026 transit videos, yearly horoscope videos, and even the worshipful videos. So I could say my own case as well. My running age of 40, my personal year from numerology of 4. I'm in the Antardasha of Rahu. Rahu's transiting over my natal moon, and Rahu is a very strong planet in my chart. Even my Chandra Nakshatra, my moon Nakshatra, is also ruled by Rahu, Sadbisha, which has to do with healing. So somehow it was very significant that a major life change will happen in this time. So that is what I'm trying to say, that in these kind of situation you cannot be so confident, because here we are not talking about that you just got a promotion or someone proposed you or you remained lucky that a big bonus came and you bought one more car. Here I'm talking about a complete u-turn. So for that you will get the information from multiple direction. And like the way I mentioned that to map a complete u-turn, so I mean to say your identity, your environment, and your daily work, you must overlay like these three things, these three entities, three distinct dimensions. So the very first is going to be the internal timing, I mean to say the running age, dasha. Second is going to be the external pressure, which we will discuss, where I would talk about the major returns. This could be Saturn return, this could be Jupiter return, this could be Sadesati, and the soul axis. So Rahu and Ketu shift, they plays a very very significant role. I always say whatever is like that portion of your destiny which is fixed, which you have to endure, that generally comes from Rahu and Ketu. So friends, now starting our discussion, the very first is going to be the internal micro timing, like which acts like the ignition switch. So for that, friends, the concept is very simple. Every year of your life activates a specific house or planet based on classical age maturities. And this is a concept which many numerologists very accurately apply in someone's life. So like I already mentioned about the personal year concept. And even if you will go by the concept of Vedic astrology, where we attach the maturity of the planet. For example, we know that Jupiter matures at 16, Venus at 25, Mars at 28, Saturn at 36, and Rahu 42, Ketu 48. So generally, when we say the maturity of a planet, that does not mean that now the planet is suddenly will start giving you result. It's just like that the signification and the dignity of that planet somehow becomes very pure. So this could be a case that a person who might have a very strong Mars but uncontrolled, this person is getting into fights, this person is not disciplined, but after 28 the same Mars is going to be much more controlled and calm. Same is the way when we talk about Saturn. Before the age of 36, the person might be very like unplanned, does not want to work hard, very lazy. But after the age of 36, the same person might become very service oriented. So you will see some sort of structure and purity which generally comes after the maturity of that planet. And the most important thing is, friends, that that planet has to be a defining planet of yours. So, for example, I generally say like your moon nakshatra lord somehow defines your personality, your ascendant lord defines your personality, and wheresoever you can find the overlap. Again, over here as well, I could give you my example. Like in my case, I mentioned my moon is in the Rahu nakshatra Sadbisha, and Rahu is there in my ascendant and very tight conjunct on my ascendant degree. Same is the way I have met many Venus pure people as well. For example, these people like Libra rising, moon is also in the Purva Falguni nakshatra. As per numerology, like born on 6th or 15th of any month. So via this, you will get to know the purity of that planet. And obviously, if that planet's maturity age will come, that planet will definitely give you something very significant. So, in the case of like planet Venus, which is kind of very quick moving, but when we talk about the slow moving planets like Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, Jupiter, so they generally brings major big changes because they're not moving very constant and they're not moving very quick. So whatsoever is in store, they will bring around the time of their maturity. So yes, friends, knowing that becomes very important, and 36, beyond any doubt, is a very important age because 36 is the age when like around second Rahu Ketu return happens, third Jupiter return happens, Saturn also matures around this time. So this is a very important age. So yeah, you have to just connect the dots. And also, friends, when I talk about the activation pada. So I mean to say over here as well, you have to give attention to the dasha, nakshatra, and the ascendant matrix as well, like which planetary dasha you are running, and that planet is in which nakshatra, and how and what kind of role that planet plays for the ascendant. So because mahadasha antardasha, like the planetary period generally tells you who is running the boardroom of your mind, and the nakshatra trigger plays a very significant role. So the real pivot happens when the dasha lord transit or activates a specific nakshatra tied to your ascendant, like I mean to say lagan, or this could be the 10th house of your career, right? So if the dasha shift from a creative or mercurial nakshatra to a disciplined like Martian or Saturnian nakshatra, your internal psychological drive also undergoes an overnight mutation. So that is about like the way I would say the internal micro timing. That means um, over here we give attention to running age, activation padas, and the combination, the matrix of the dasha, nakshatra, and the ascendant. Now after that, friends, comes the layer two, which is about the external macro pressure. That means the cosmic testing grounds. Your Saturn return is very important. Your Jupiter return is very important. Your Sadesati is very important. So, okay, let me take it one by one. So, for example, when we talk about the this could be the case of the Jupiter return. So we know that Jupiter like comes to the same place where it is placed in your chart after every 12 years. So that means the age of 12, 24, 36, 48 is very important. We know that Jupiter expands your wisdom and introduces a new philosophy or worldview. So it gives you the permission slip to think differently about your life purpose. And generally the results which comes from the planet Jupiter, there is no such biasness over there, because a lot of the times whatever result comes from Rahu, there is some sort of biasness over there. I mean to say, there might be greed, temptation, some hidden desires. When we talk about Saturn, there might be some karmic punishment which might be involved. This could be a case that you might get married to a very successful partner, but the partner might be kind of dominating, or partner might have like sickness or health issue, or this could be a promotion or a new business comes, but it comes with at a cost of taking away or snatching your peace. Now you're all the time worried, insecure. So these kind of things and the attached like cost which you have to pay generally comes from Saturn, Rahu. But when we talk about Ketu and Jupiter, there is a divine decree, divine blessing which is generally attached over there. So Jupiter is like all purity, all like unbiased energy which comes in our life, which gives us prosperity, happiness, and expansion. So the Jupiter return ages are very, very important. Along with that, friends, Saturn return is important because after around every 29.5 years, and the major hits generally, like it generally hit around age 28 to 30 and 58 to 60. So we know that Saturn does not care about your feelings, right? It cares about the reality. So it forces the structural endings. So like if you're in a wrong career, a Saturn pressure points cut the cord. So that is how generally Saturn return give results. And friends, beyond any doubt, we cannot overlook the importance of the Sade Sati. So I would say that the mechanics like Saturn transiting the 12th house, first house, and second house from your natal moon is doing something, is working around your profession, your career, your outlook towards the life. So, generally, the impact, when we talk about the impact, so it strips away the emotional comfort zones. When Sade Sati hits its peak, like generally the middle faces over the moon, it forces a complete breakdown of the old lifestyle to build mental resilience. It makes a person crave discipline, structure, and duty over superficial validation. So, and this is one point where majority of the astrologers would agree that the last phase of the Sadhasati or Saturn before leaving your moon, it gives you something very substantial. And generally, around the period of the Sadhasati, many people undergo some sort of career changes, their livelihood changes, their work environment changes. That generally happens. So again, whatever I'm saying over here, any of these points will not work in isolation. All the layers which I'm explaining over here, they all will be getting aligned at one point, and at that specific age, you could expect a major transition. And again, that is the only reason, friends, being spiritual, being grounded helps a lot, because then you don't get affected by the vicissitudes of the life. You know that even certain rejections which are happening, the universe is opening a new door for you. Whatever is happening in your life, it is happening as a part of a bigger plan. So you then have kind of a faith in the divine plan, and any rejection, any transformation, any layoff which happens in your life, you see it as a blessing, not as a deterrence. So, friends, after this, now comes the question that we cannot overlook the importance of the destiny nodes. I mean to say, the ultimate directional flip happens because of Rahu and Ketu. So, over here, friends, like it's not only that the Rahu Dasha is important or Rahu Ketu axis in the transit is important, but I would say their return and their inversion also plays very important role. So, when we talk about the Rahu Ketu return, we know this thing that around the age of 18, 36, 54, they come to your original placement in your natal chart in the transit, right? So we say that the Rahu Ketu return, it's like, so the transiting Rahu and Ketu sit exactly on top of where they were when you were born. Now, coming to its impact. So, a hard reset of your karmic ledger. So, this cycle forces you to confront whether you are fulfilling your soul's actual blueprint. Like it frequently triggers sudden departure from long held careers because the comfort zone Ketu becomes entirely dry, forcing you to leap into the unknown, which is Rahu. So that is what the But the beauty and the reality of the Rahu Ketu return, like generally it has been seen that people who follow a lot of the astrologers in the southern part of India, they make major predictions only observing the placement and transit of Rahu and Ketu only. And in the case of Rahu and Ketu, so it's like 9 year period, 9 year cycle plays a very significant role. So I mean to say, Rahu Ketu return generally tells about some sort of maturity and new door. New door generally opens in a person's life in the house where this return is happening. Now, it is entirely different comparing that with Rahu Ketu inversion, which happens, I mentioned, every 9 years. So I still remember this statement or this line given to me by a very senior astrologer that Rahu Ketu inversion, like when transiting Rahu transit over your natal Ketu and Ketu transit over your natal birth Rahu. So this generally tells about when your past comes in front of you in order to change your future course. So your past comes in the present to change your future. So again, in these kind of situation, Rahu Ketu inversion, a lot is dependent that what is the evolutionary level of the soul. So someone who's going to be very evolved, very rooted, very grounded, when the change will come, this person will not lose his temper, he will not lose his ground. But sometimes you would have seen that when separation happens, any major breakthrough in the life happens, people lose control, they get very hysterical, they start blaming, some people get into addiction. So because they're not able to accept the reality or accept or embrace the change, because Rahu Ketu inversion creates lot of the confusion, lot of the insecurities that generally happens, like, and these are fate driven. So your thought, your planning, your rationality does not work at the time when you're going through Rahu Ketu inversion. Majority of the clients which comes to me for the reading, like 27, 28, or this could be 44, 45 years of the age, in majority of the cases where people are embroiled in a confusion created by the fate, destiny. These are the people going through Rahu Ketu inversion, the age groups which I mentioned. So the impact of this is generally like the ultimate U-turn geometry, like what used to give you obsession before suddenly brings detachment. So what used to give you obsession, which is Rahu, suddenly brings detachment. You're no longer interested. And areas you ignored suddenly becomes hyperactivated. People from the past suddenly start coming back in their life. So it kind of represents an existential crossroad in the life. So now, friends, like at the end, I just wanted this to be a very short, concise discussion. So now comes the question that, so how can an individual spot a U-turn in a chart, right? So first of all, like the I mentioned, these kind of big changes generally happens, generally major life transformation, we cannot overlook this fact that it's Rahu and Ketu only, which plays a very significant role. So, like how strong Rahu and Ketu are in the chart. Now, again, over here, your astrological intuition comes into the play. That immediate after looking at a chart, you are able to pick two or three planets. And again, friends, it's not like that you have to open up the, like, Sarvashtak Varga and Shodash Varga and other kind of tools to say or see this planet is important or that planet is important. It's just like that. If you have that instincts in you and you take into consideration everything like the face reading, palm reading, numerology, astrology, vastu, if one or two planets are strong, they will speak out loud. They will be crying out loud for the attention. So I mean to say, Rahu and Ketu generally, if they are important, they have a say over the first house, seventh house, 10th house, fourth house, connected with the ascendant lord, connected with the moon. So they are responsible for bringing these kind of big U-turn. So again, so now if I were to say, a total life transformation generally happens when a person experiences, they're like couple of things I can give you as the cues. First of all, dasha is going to be shifting to a new nakshatra lord, because obviously your life circumstances generally change because of the change or transition in the dasha. And somehow when you're in the dasha sandhi, Like for example, Saturn Dasha generally ends when the last Antardasha is of the Jupiter, right? Then the next Mahadasha of Mercury begins. So even in the Dasha Sandhi, you will start seeing the signs, seeds of change. So the Dasha will shift to a new Nakshatra Lord, Rahu Ketu return or inversion is happening. I mentioned around the age of 36. Saturn or Jupiter, heavy transit over the ascendant, or this could be the 10th house, and the running age. So all of that will result in that. So the old life will go through complete change and it will lose its energetic charge. So, and the universe will forcefully redirect the native towards a calling defined by collective duty, rigid structure, and the radical service. So I hope, friends, this was just a very short, concise discussion. I hope it would have given you some insight, and like you can definitely share your life experiences as well. If you are in that age group, like you are in late 30s, you are in like early 40s, mid 40s, late 40s, and you have also gone through these kind of major life changes, transformation and all. So do share that. What were the planetary time periods you were going through? How transit was impacting you? What was your running age? And obviously, I don't want you to like go through some painful memory. Only if it is something which is very happy and you are comfortable sharing that. So do write that. It will kind of provide us as a research material for our this community, for our this platform. So yes, friends, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. Once again, thanks a lot for watching this video, and for further more updates and notification on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on my Instagram account. Dhanyavad.